Hi students, welcome back. So in these videos, we are going to talk about the different type of printers. So usually our printers is separated into two kind of printers. So the first kind of printers is called impact printers. So another one is called non-impact printers. So impact printers, meaning that the print head will be contacted with the mediums, and therefore it will causes a lot of noises. And then it's also the speed of the printing is slower than the non-impact printers. So for the impact printers, we'll have the dot matrix printers, typewriters, line printers, and um, many more. And at the same time, the non-impact printers, which means that the print heads we will not contacted directly or create impact on the mediums or the papers. So that's what I call the non-impact printers. So just like the inkjet printers, so the ink is actually with high pressure pumps and leave ink or leave the readable image or words or sentences, okay, paragraph onto the papers. So is not directly contacted, okay, with the paper. So that's why it's called non-impact printers. So for non-impact printers, we have the inkjet printers, thermal printers, as well as laser printer. So in these modules, we are going to talk about the dot matrix printers, inkjet printers, as well as laser printer. So it's also meaning that we will share about one dot matrix printer, which is from impact printers, and another two printers from non-impact printers. There are inkjet printers as well as the laser printer. So when choosing a printer, so we need to consider about a few criteria. So in here we list out four criteria. So the first thing is you need to consider about the image quality. So if the image quality is a concern, for instance, you are working in the multimedia printing companies or design companies, so the image quality is one of them because you need to present high quality, the productions to your customer or to client. So you need to choose the better image quality. So the quality of the image that produced by the printers is usually measured in dot per inch (kdpi). So meaning in 1 inch time 1 inch boxes, there is how many dots inside. So the higher the density the dot, that meaning the quality is the better. It is it's better to have a better quality. So usually most of the printers will produce is around 300 to 600 dpi. Of course, the higher the better, as what you mentioned earlier. So secondly is the speed. Okay, so speed is usually measured in page per minute, okay, character per second, or line per minute. Okay, so ppm stands for page per minute. So page per minute meaning a minute, within 1 minute, how many pages can be printed out from the printer. Okay, so page per minute is considered the highest speed measurements, okay, on on printers. And at the same time, in the other way, we have the CPS. CPS stands for character per second, meaning per second they can create how many character. So that one is considered the lowest printing speed in printer. Okay, so in between we also have like line per minute. So meaning per minute they can create how many lines. Okay, so one is per minute they can create how many pages, they can print how many pages. Another one is per minute they can print how many lines. So apparently page per minute is the fastest. Okay, the printer measurement speeds, okay, for printers. So after you consider about the speed and also the image quality, so we also need to consider about the initial cost. Initial cost meaning when you purchase a printer, how much that is cost. So it's usually referring to the cost of the machines. Okay, like when you go to a digital mall or you go to a retail shop, then you purchase a printer. How much when you purchase the whole printer? And usually when you purchase printer, they will provide or they will build in something called a starter ink pack. Okay, meaning they will have ink, but that one is a starter pack. Starter pack meaning it's not if you compare with when you purchase the cartridge, okay, cartridge usually will have more volumes than the starter pack. Starter pack will give you a limited volumes. Why? Because they want you to finish it and then after that you can purchase the ink cartridge. Okay, so it's just a little volumes, not say little volume, but limited volume for you to to print, for you to start using the printer. Okay, and the following maintenance fees, okay, or refueling the inks or purchase the replacement ink cartridge or toner cartridge, that is what we call the cost operations. Okay, because as you finish ink already, you need to purchase the ink. All right, so that's what I call the cost operations, and usually referring to how much for the second spend after you spend on the initial cost of the printer. So they're usually referring to the cost of supply by the printers. Papers, okay, papers is also considered a cost operations. Electricity is also considered the cost operations. And maintenance such as like ink printers usually we need to maintain, we need to clean head, then we need to reset the printers. All this is actually cost operations. And of course, some of the vendors or some of the manufacturer, the cost, okay, for the in-country replacement will be cheaper and some will be expensive. Okay, later we also will talk about the cost of the cartridge, the in-cartridge, and also the laser toners. Okay, so just now we already go through there is an impact printers and also non-impact printers. Okay, so there is two types. So impact printers meaning you will the print head will contacted with the mediums. Okay, so you cause noises and also slower printing speed. And under the impact printer we have dot matrix, daisy wheel, and also line printer. Okay, and non-impact printer we have laser, inkjet, as well as the thermal printers. Of course, there is many more there. Okay, so the first printers we're going to talk about is for the impact printers. We talk about impact printer type first. So impact printers leave an images on the paper, okay, and they physically strike, okay, onto the papers. Okay, so meaning the print head will strike hard on the paper, and why? Because they want to create the pressure, so that's why they press on the paper. Okay, and they will press on the ink soak ribbon, and then only they will ink on the paper. So if the printhead itself, okay, or the the we so called as the mold, okay, directly strike on the paper, nothing will happen because there is no ink. So before they strike on the paper, they will strike on the ink soak ribbon first. That's why here we say physically strike an ink ribbons, meaning the mold will strike on the ink ribbons and the ink ribbons will attach on the paper, and therefore they will create the text, okay, onto the paper or create images on the paper. And because it's a physically solid, okay, so that's why it's relatively slow and also noisy. And why we need physically strike on the paper usually is because we want to create a pressure on the first page so that it will leave the images on the second page, like for example the carbon copy. Okay, just like when you write on the first page, then it will ink on the the second copy paper. So later on you can tear off the first paper and you will have another copy. Okay, so that's the reason why we need to use the impact printers, especially when we open receipts, okay, point of sale receipts, okay, when you have invoice or salary slips, okay, usually we will use the impact printers. So of course, most of the impact printers is already phased out. The leftover impact printer is how to say, is quite limited. So one of them is the dot matrix printers. Okay, so that's why the dot matrix printers is also considered impact printers. Okay, so impact printers, we have dot matrix, daisy wheel, and line printers. Later on, we will walk through about the impact printers that currently still being found in the market. Okay, so the first one is the dot matrix printers. So dot matrix printers is introduced in 1970s and is considered the best combinations of expense and also versatility. During back then. Okay, so until 1990, so it became the most common forms of the printer with a personal computer. So usually attached on your computers, okay, in 1990s, usually will be the dot matrix printers. Because this is more commercials, okay, like maybe business, usually office will use, okay, maybe house also will use. So it's very general back then in 1990s. Okay, and then the next one is the daisy wheel printers. We don't have the pictures for the daisy wheel printers, but we do have the mold for the daisy wheel printers. Okay, so daisy wheel printers, they already have the ready forms. Okay, the mold. Okay, I mean the character mold. So we will install this onto the daisy wheel printers. So when we type the characters on the, I mean something like the keypad lah. Okay, it's like there is a key. Okay, the alphabet key. So when we type A, then the A mold will strike. Then it will strike onto the ribbon and then onto the paper. Okay, so you cannot choose the character, I mean the size of the character. Why? Because it's already fixed. Okay, all these characters is fixed. Okay, all these characters is fixed. So meaning the size of the characters is limited. Okay. So when you press on O, then the O will strike. Then when you press on others, then the others character will strike. And other than they will have a limited size, they also have a limited characters. So they only have a big capital, small capitals of alphabet, and also numbers, and also some limited symbols. So if you want to have like later symbols, which is they do not provide, okay, because they only can provide what they have. Of course, if some of them bent already or broken, then you can change, you can replace it by purchase the whole new mold, and then you can take out a couple of screws and then you can replace it back. So other daisy wheel printers, other than using the daisy mold, okay, we also, or we so called templates. We also have and usually you see here is actually the size, not the size, the font types. Okay, the font types, we have the F Romans, okay, F Romans, and this one is other types of the font types. Okay, and then other than the daisy view shapes, you also have like golf shape. golf shape. So you see all this template is printed on the surface of the golf ball. Okay, so this is also considered the daisy view printers. So for daisy view printers, the print head is shaped like daisy lah. That's why this is where the name came from. And the speeds, it can go up to 25 to 60 character per second. Okay, so it's very slow because it's mentioned in CPS. Okay, it's not mentioned in line per minute or page per minute. And print types similar to typewriters, just like the old days typewriters. Again, typewriters is not printer. Why? Because they do not connect to the computer. Okay, so typewriters is more like a mechanism. Okay, I mean the machines, okay, mechanism machines. So with their own alphabet keys and also the mechanicals components. Okay, so you can type directly on the paper without connecting to any electronic devices or computers. So other than that, we also have the line printers. So line printers is very similar to dot matrix printers. It's just that line printers, instead of creating the character per character, line printer actually creating line per line. Okay, so therefore it's faster than we so called as the dot matrix printers. And dot matrix printers usually we can call them as serial printers. Okay, we call them serial dot matrix printers. Okay, but however the line printers we can call them as a parallel printers. Okay, parallel because they can print parallelly. So modern line printers includes the microprocessor, so they can process faster as the range is between 300 to 1004. This one is average space. I mean the speed of the printing speed of the line printers, and they are not calculated or measured in character per second, but they measure in line per minute. So per minute they can print how many lines. So line printers usually is a solution for high volume impact printings, especially like the banks. Okay, when they want to print the statements for their customers, so they need to print a lot of statements. So usually they will use line printer instead of the dot matrix printers. Why do you want to use line printer? Because same thing, line printer will create impact on the paper, so they can have a carbon copy. Okay, so like one page, the second page, the copy of the second page, so they can remove the second page, then they will have a carbon copy, something like that. So and line printers is superior in speed, faster speed because they calculated in line per minute, reliables, and also quality, more qualities. So line printers will cost less to service because there are not much to service, and also quite less to use, as I said, because when they needed when you want to print a annual report, okay, or statements. So that's why it's quite less to use. And the fastest line printers are available in the market. So there is two manufacturers. So we have the Tally and also Printronic. Okay, so which claims print speeds is between 1800 to 2000 line per minute. So this one is the typewriters. As I said, typewriters actually is actually not really under the categories of printers because they do not connect to the computer. They come with their own mechanism with the the type key. I mean the key, okay, the alphabetic keys and also the numbers and also the special character key. And then with the paper, with the drums, okay, with the the so-called as the platens. Okay, and this one is something like this is the mold. It's just that it's different with the daisy view. Is the daisy view is in the daisy shapes. Okay, but then however the typewriters is not in the daisy shapes. It's like something like a how to say, it's like just half of it, and all this is actually the mold of the characters. So same thing goes to the daisy view printers. I mean the characters is fixed. Okay, big small character, the size is fixed, and also the types, the font type is also fixed. Okay, so when you type the characters over here, and then the mold will strike. And where they strike, they will strike onto the ribbon, the inkso ribbon over here, and the paper is just behind it. So when they strike, they will ink on the red color ink, and then will create the red color ink of the characters onto the paper. Okay, and if you have two copies, okay, so it's something like carbonless paper, and then you strike on the first page, then it also will ink on the second page. Okay, so these are the characters that is limited, it's limited to these characters. So if you want to more than these characters, then I'm sorry because the impact printers have limitations on this area. So what are the advantages and also disadvantages of the impact printers? Number one, you can print on the multi-part forms. Okay, number two, you can have a carbon copy. As I said, you print on the first page, then you will ink on the second page. So when you remove the first page, then you can have two copies. And then it's reliable. Why? Because they leave hard copies. Okay, so they will have copies as well. Okay, so lower printing costs and then lesser maintenance, and usually used for the data logging. Okay? And for this, there's disadvantages because it's the impact printer, so the print head will contacted with the paper or the mediums. and therefore they will create noise, and then they have very low resolutions or even no resolutions at all. Like for instance, these typewriters and also the Daisy View printers, they cannot print images, they only can print text. Okay, and the text is also limited to the mold, okay, the template. Okay, and then even though you are using dot matrix printers, and yet the resolutions of the graphic is still very low. It's not really graphicals, but it's actually for us to print text more than the graphicals contents. And then after that, we have a limited color options, and then we have the lower printing speeds because they're calculated in line per minute, and even lower is character per second. And you need to align the paper manually. Okay, so it's a manual paper fit in method. Okay, so these are the advantages and also disadvantages of the impact printers. And after we talk about the impact printers, next we are going to talk about the non-impact printers. So non-impact printers is also the same, but is connected to the computer and provide you faster printing speed and also higher printing qualities. And they will form image without directly physical contact. The print head will not physically contact on the paper, and therefore there is no physical contact between them, and they have more quieter and faster printing process. And for non-impact printers, usually it depends. Not all impact printers will have the lower maintenance or repair. Okay, because you need to replace the ink and then you need to clean up the print head. So I would say maintenance is average. You need to perform a maintenance on the printer. Okay, and produce better qualities like image and also photos. Not others. I mean, you don't talk about words or texts. Okay, or paragraph. They also can print better qualities of the image or photos as well. Okay, so for the non-impact printers, we have laser, inkjet, and also thermal. So first printer we talk about is the inkjet printers. So inkjet printers is the most economical of the impact printers because they are cheap. Usually 100 ringgit you can find a printer with 4 colors. Okay, so because it's very cheap, so that's why it's often used at home. Okay, and for children to do portfolios, okay, for their secondary and also primary projects. So usually they can, I mean the families are affordable to purchase the inkjet printers with 4 colors. Why we do not use the laser printer? Because laser printer same prices as the inkjet printer 100 overs, but you only can find one color. Okay, so usually secondary school, primary school, when they do project, they need color. Okay, so this is the most economical or most affordable printers that provide 4 colors. So the leading worldwide manufacturer, we have Canon, HP, and Epson. Okay, so of course the different printer we purchase for different purposes. Okay, I mean in the following lessons we will explain more detail on each of the printer, what are their advantages, usually where we use in which industry. So for non-impact printers, the second printers, we have the laser printer. So laser printers, they will have the lowest printing cost. Okay, so if you compare with the ink printers, ink usually will be more expensive than laser. Laser will have lowest printing cost than the ink printer. Okay, so but laser printer usually is for those company or office they have the highest printing resolutions or the faster printing speeds. For instance, you want to print a document, so the documents maybe contain of 80 pages or 100 pages. So if you compare ink printer and laser printer, which one is faster? Laser printer is definitely faster because they have the fast printing speeds than inkjet printers, and most commonly used in office. Why? Because in office usually we do not need a very high quality colors or resolutions. So that's why we can use the laser printer in office to provide faster printing speeds. And the leading worldwide brands, we have the HP, Brother, and Lexmark. Of course, different manufacturer will have different advantages and also disadvantages, and also the initial cost as well as the maintenance cost. So other non-impact printers, we also have the thermal printers. So thermal printers will print more quietly and usually faster than impact printers. But thermal printers, the printout is quite limited. Usually, will print in a very small, papers, okay, or we so-called as special coated papers. They cannot print on the normal A4 paper or plain paper. They need to print on a special coated paper. Usually the paper is come with the drums. Okay, just like when you go to shopping mall, when you pay by credit card, then usually you will print out the, the small credit card machines will print out the receipts. Okay, so the receipt usually, if they run out of the paper, then they need to open the cover. Like this cover, they need to open, eject out, and then they will take out the empty one, and then they'll put in the new one, the drum. Okay, the drum of, one drum of the thermal paper, and then they can start printing it. So how they produce the ink, the images on the paper, actually they use heat. So they use thermal, so the thermal will produce our texts and also images on the paper. Okay, so you do not need to refill ink because the paper itself is a special, we so-called as thermal paper. Okay, so they are smaller, lighter, and consume lesser power. Usually, they can have a battery, built-in batteries, so they can last for like few hours. And then, of course, you running out of battery, you can charge is rechargeable. Okay, and then making them ideal for portable for retail applications. So, like some of them even is wireless. They don't have any connector, so you can they can just bring the credit card print the machines with the printers thermal printer built in and then to in front of you so that you can wave your card or even key in your pin to pay credit card. These are the thermal printers. And thermal printers also quite often to see in car parking. Okay, so the vending machine. So when you want to pay for your car parking fee, and then actually you can put in the shillings, and then you can they will print you a receipt, and then you can put in front of your windscreen. Okay, so and then to show that you pay the parking fees for what time to what time. So that is also considered thermal printer as well. Okay, and lastly, we also have the 3D printers. So 3D printers is also non-impact printers. So 3D printers usually come with three kinds of separated into three types. So we have the moulding. Moulding meaning we have like polyform, and then we will mold them. Okay, we will take out unnecessary parts, and then we become structures or become objects. So we also have a sliding. So sliding is something like adding slide by slide, okay, like by editing, adding slide by slide to form an object. So we also have laser cutting. So usually laser cutting is we can have a laser. We can have powders. Okay, so and then the laser will form the the object by how to say by uh, temporarily forming the object, okay, from the powders, and then they will remove the rest of the powders, and then the leftover it will be the object, and then they would do a second process of the object to make them firm or to make them permanent. Okay, so that's what I call a laser printer. Okay, so laser printer is also part of the non-impact printers. So what are the advantages and also disadvantages of the non-impact printers? Number one, advantages is the high resolutions. They produce a very high resolutions. So if you are considering to purchase a printer with a high quality of images, okay, with better colors, then definitely non-impact printers is the right choices. And then they are quiet and they are fastest because they have a faster printing speed. So usually for inkjet printers and also laser printers, they measure in page per minute. And of course, laser printer will have faster page per minute than inkjet printers. But in the quality wise, the color quality wise, definitely inkjet printer will have higher the color quality than laser printers. Okay, which we'll explain later, okay, individually on the different type of printers. Okay, inkjet printers and also laser printers. And the disadvantages is they do not support multi-part forms. Okay, therefore they do not have carbonless papers, meaning because they are not impact, so they cannot leave the first pages impact on the first pages and leave the copy on the second pages. Okay, because they are not impact printers. Okay, so they cannot print duplicates. On the second papers. So therefore they cannot use the multi-forms. Okay, what is multi-form? You explain in later video as well. So they cannot print on the carbonless paper, same thing lah, okay, because they cannot produce the duplication on the second paper, and they are more costly than the impact printers. Yes, okay, so the initial cost and also operating cost, if you add up, much more expensive than the impact printers. Okay, so that's all for these videos. Thanks for watching.